Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with my arch nemesis. The Muslims have exposed us. They have figured out we hate each other. We are super divided. It's over. So I brought them on to show you how much we all hate each other, because here they are. Oh no, I don't know what to do. How are you guys doing today?
Yo, what up,
It's
everybody?
nemesis. You have two nemesis.
Two nemesis. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a Muslim
Both your
decided,
nemesis are united
through-
against you, although we're not united.
No, never. No, we all hate each other. We all hate each other. We're ready to kill each other. Yeah. So a Muslim went through a live stream we did like a year ago and found like one place that like John and I disagreed on a very minor theological issue. And he's like, you see, they are super divided. They hate each other. Look at them go. They're about to tear each other to shreds. And I was like, we should talk about this because it's hilarious. It shows like the lack of like awareness you typically get from Muslim apologists. They don't understand jokes. They don't understand humor or sarcasm, which really says a lot. It was quite funny to watch. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking. I don't know what you're talking about as far as what we're being blasted for, but it is an ongoing problem. To be fair, it's not just Muslims. It's I think certain cultures, because I could say kind of anything. I could be just like completely joking around going, wow, this is actually a really good argument from the dawa clowns. And I'll get a message being like, David, no, this is not actually a good argument. Here, let me explain it, brother. Do not fall for this argument. It's like, dude.
Yeah.
So
I get that
so
stuff too,
for
yeah.
some people, I assume it can be like a language thing. Like I'm trying to think, like, I can grasp a little bit of, I can get the gist of a German conversation. I don't know if I would pick up on sarcasm in that conversation. So it could be a language thing, but also just culturally, I think there are just groups that just do not understand sarcasm very well. And it seems to be disproportionately a Muslim issue, because me and AP have that all the time. People will make a video just blasting us for something. And we're like, he was joking. My goodness, he was obviously joking. And what's crazy, you can look at the comments. You can look at the comments of the Muslim video where he'll play a clip of us obviously being sarcastic, and all the Muslims will be, yes, you humiliated them. You humiliated them. It's like, do none of you get, not one of you gets this? Anyway.
No, they lack a lot of self-awareness, or they're just being flatly dishonest and trying to show that like Christians are super divided because they're desperate for some form of argument. I mean, like their arguments are atrocious. I'm going to be responding to some pretty stupid Muslim on TikTok tomorrow trying to defend child marriage, and all he did was just recycle Daniel Hikikuchu's debunked arguments. Like it's really bad. So
I have to say though, if he's like, look, the Christians are divided, this is going to be hilarious, because whether he wants to talk about right now in the Muslim world or go all the way back to the first generation, I mean, they were slaughtering each other. The first generation of Muslims almost annihilated itself by killing each other. They're constantly killing each other. Aisha, whose title in Islam is the mother of the faithful, marched an army against Ali, whose title in Islam is the commander of the faithful. And about 10,000 Muslims died slaughtering each other over a disagreement. That's the first generation. Muhammad was asked, what is the best generation of Muslims? He said, my generation is the best. That's why they can't stop fighting. We say, hey, Sunni, Shias, all you groups, stop fighting each other. And it's like, wait a minute, the first generation is declared by Muhammad to be the best, and the best generation were almost if they'd been like 2% more violent, they would have annihilated each other completely. They barely made it. But yeah, they were slaughtering each other in the name of Allah, Muslims on Muslims. And what we're going to be, I don't even know what we disagreed about.
You'll see. It's pretty. John and I watched it. What were your thoughts, John?
I only watched the first a few seconds, and I thought it was funny, and then that was it. And I started watching something else. I didn't have time.
Yeah.
I don't have time to watch a lot of response videos because you guys know how that is. You get so many videos on it. But yeah,
I was like, we've got to review this live because it's so bad, it's hilarious. So, but all right, real quick here, Gay P is in the chat. Says, sorry, I made David Wood late. Well, we know what you were doing, Gay P. So that's a joke, Muslims. Just so you know, I know it's hard. Okay, yo, live stream with everyone, but Mike Winger.
Gay P admits.
Why are we not streaming with Mike Winger?
This is the no Mike. This is the no wingling zone. The no wingling zone, ladies and gentlemen.
Wingaling's he's the man, all right? So you guys can't hate on Wingaling. Stop making fun of Wingaling all the time, DW.
He's gonna fight you.
Darkwing David. But the reason why we're not streaming
I will
with
never stop.
Mike is because Mike's not mentioned in the video. Right, IP?
Right. He's not in the video. It's just us three on a couch together. David, what did you see?
And there's the fact that he's a gigantic nerd.
That's so unprovoked, David. Unprovoked.
David, did you see Fareed's new video? And you asked David Kazuma, the dragon of apologetics.
I didn't see the video. There's no scenario where I'm going to watch a Fareed video that we're not like responding to on a live stream or something like that. I saw the thumbnail. It's apparently he took the bait. Guys, I've been doing this for years. But he took the bait of, because they don't understand, right? Muhammad is this precious thing and they don't want to direct criticism towards it, but they hate us. And so if you can kind of bait them by, in this case, dressing up as queers for Palestine, they can't resist. Look, here's him dressed up as queers for Palestine. I saw that in the thumbnail. But if you could do that, and then they can't help it. They'll take the picture and do exactly what Fareed did. Look, here's David. Here's David dressed up as queers for Palestine. Oh my goodness. And not realizing that helps draw attention to the video, which is jam-packed with all sorts of information about Muhammad. So you're trying to get them to promote your video. Because at the end of the day, they can make fun of me all they want. I don't care. I'm inconsequential here. Muhammad is pretty foundational to their religion. So anyway, I'll take that deal 100 times out of 100 every time.
One of these days, Fareed's going to open a video, David, and he's going to be like, why can't I quit you? Why can't I quit you, David? He just is obsessed with you. It's creepy. But do all of you understand jokes? John doesn't.
No.
I would love watching IP freely expose Islam. Well, you are more than welcome. Peace be upon you, Brigham Young.
He said IP freely.
I got it.
I didn't realize how many fake David Wood accounts there are. It's like a joke, I guess. That's pretty funny.
There are fake IP accounts. There is Buff IP, Fat IP, Beardless IP, Sus IP. Yeah, they're all over.
That's hilarious. I like it.
All right, let's get into this. I'm going to put the video up, and David, you are in for a real treat. You'll remember this as soon as we get into it. So,
you look at this 3. What comes to mind?
Oh, that EPS
together in faith. However,
yeah, so we're at ETS. Yeah.
That's not the case. They are only united because
a robot voice?
Common enemy.
It is a robot voice too, so it makes it even funnier. You're going to use his real voice.
Okay. The enmity amongst
robot voice. All the kids love the robot voice. All right, sorry. Go.
The enmity amongst themselves is worse. Now imagine a world.
All right, you guys heard it. We are. We love Islam so much.
Look at the enmity.
If I had to pick to be in a room with Muslims or you two, I just go with the Muslims. I don't want to be around you guys. It's so stupid.
But then look what pops up where there is saying the enmity and hostility.
Oh yeah,
smiling and laughing.
Started from the beginning because we were talking too much over it. Let's hear that again. That beginning part.
Yeah, let me start it from the beginning.
Named your channel.
Oh, look how much we hate each other.
Yeah, because when you look at me, you think beefy bard.
When you look at this 3, what comes to mind? You think they are united together in faith. However, that's not the case. They are only united because they share a common enemy. The enmity amongst themselves is worse. Now imagine a world where there is no Islam. Each one of them will be on his computer calling the other a heretic. It will be very difficult for them to hide their enmity for each other. Throughout history.
Hey, John, you're a heretic, just so you know.
Yeah, what in the world?
Hey, look, I really want to call both of you heretics right now, but since I have to deal with Islam, you're all good. We'll pretend that we're all good.
Yeah. We'll pretend we like each other.
What level of delusion? We would be killing each other right now if it weren't for their hatred of Muslim. John has barely dealt with Islam.
Yeah.
Ever. IP just got interested. IP got mainly interested after sitting there and listening to a guy defend child marriage. Then suddenly he's like, wait, what? They defend what?
True story.
And somehow we're only able to hold it together out of deep-seated hatred for all things Islamic.
Oh, you see?
history, before Islam became a big thing, we saw how people who were called heretics were silenced forever because they have a different opinion. Michael Servetus is a perfect example. He was silenced at the stake for refusing to see Jesus as God, saying it is not biblical. Allah informed us.
So that guy was, I believe, killed by John Calvin in the 1500s. So before Islam became a big thing. What? So before Islam came, they were killing people from the future at the stake. After Islam became a big thing, this guy's history is a little whack.
So you see how hateful the Christians are, that they, in the 1500s, built a time machine to go back in time and kill a heretic in the past before Islam. In a time machine fueled by 1.21 gigawatts of Islamophobia.
Allah informed us of this hatred amongst themselves 1,400 years ago. This statement of Allah will be evident in today's video. So before diving deep into today's video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like and share the video to friends and families. Allah in Quran.
No sarcasm channel.
Yes, so please show this video to everyone. Please show this video to everyone. It's so precious.
Was the argument that they're killing heretics among each other? Was that the argument? That like back in the day? And that's what he's saying? He's like, they used
that's
to
what
kill
he said.
heretics.
He said like before Islam became a he says before Islam became a big thing, we were killing each other.
So he thinks we were ripping off Islam? Is that what he means?
Yeah. Yes, so. We're ripping off.
I mean, one, his timeline's all screwed up. He's saying that's what we were doing before Islam united us. We were all killing each other. But then in the example he gave, that was after the spread of Islam. So he doesn't even know what he's talking about. But this is especially dumb. He's saying Surah 59 is talking about Christians?
Yeah, let me play the clip and then we will.
Did he just say that? He said this is what describes us?
Let me play the clip and then.
If so, he's stupid.
Go to friends and families. Allah in Quran 59 verse 14 said, "Their enmity among themselves is severe. You think they are together, but their hearts are diverse. That is because they are a people who do not reason." It is striking how Allah mentioned why their hearts are diverse while they behave like they are one. That is because they are a people who do not reason. Inspiring philosophy.
So yeah, that's what he says. He says it's about us, David.
Okay, well, first of all, he doesn't even know that Surah 59 is about a Jewish tribe called the Banu Nadir. And when the Muslims left Mecca and went to Medina, there were 3 Jewish tribes there, the Banu Kainuka, the Banu Nadir, and the Banu Qurayza. And Muhammad, over time, gets rid of all of them, either by expelling them or slaughtering them. Surah 59 is about that second tribe, the Banu Nadir. He told them, hey, you need to get out of here. He just has a revelation. I have been informed by Gabriel that they're going to kill me. So all you guys have to leave. Even though they were there long before him. Interesting stuff. If you think about the Israel-Hamas conflict right now, Muhammad could just show up to an area and say, everyone get out. All of you Jews, get out. And they have to obey. But anyway, that is about the Banu Nadir, this group of Jews. And of course, they had allies and so on, and they would pretend to be, according to Islam, they're pretending to be united, but at the end of the day, their buddies didn't come to rescue them and so on, and they had their own disagreements and so on. But anyway, this is about a particular tribe of Jews. That apparently we're the Banu Nadir.
All right. Well, he's doing great on history and what the Quran says. So this guy is a clear winner.
What has he said that's correct? What has he gotten correct so far?
Our names, I think.
We're a minute and a half into the video. He's gotten nothing correct.
Inspiring Philosophy, also known as Michael Jones, organized a live Q&A for his Christian audience, a live section that was supposed to enlighten them about their faith and beliefs. However, he made the biggest mistake of his life, inviting Drywood and Jon McCray.
I made the biggest mistake of my life.
Drywood, and they misspelled both my first and my last name, by the way, too. So you got that wrong as well. But wait, why did they call you Drywood? I don't get it.
Why do they call you Drywood?
You got the variations. I don't know. What's the Drywood? I guess because it's dead if it's sitting around. Because you get David Deadwood, David this wood, David Morning Wood, all that stuff. That's
better than Drywood. But they're
they're not the best at coming up with names for insults. The Hebrew Israelites are phenomenal at it. They're the best. They're the goats. They're the goats.
Freaking, there's a bunch of
but
like
Muslims, no.
Yeah, there was a Muslim who decided to call me Angry Bird, and like Jonathan Pritchard of Trinity Radio thought it was hilarious. He's like, "That's such a cool nickname." I was like, "Yeah, I know." Like, oh no, you have a cool code name, Angry Bird. Like, they need to hire some writers. So I didn't actually organize this live stream. If this was like John and David's idea, and like I was setting things up, and at the last minute, John's like, "All right, let's stream on your channel," because he didn't want to stream on his channel. And then we got like tons of super chats. In the moment we went off and we're no longer live, the first thing out of John's mouth was, "Should have did it on my channel." That was the plan.
Yeah. I don't remember that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Because the next night you were like,
here we go. We're revealing our hate for each other.
Yeah, all I remember about that day is after we finished, IP's walking away going, "This was the biggest mistake of my entire life.
Yeah.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever done. How? Why did I do this with heretics?"
I was in tears.
If only Islam weren't uniting us.
All right, let's see if he gets to the clip here.
What was he thinking, you may ask? I guess he wanted to give his audience the impression of unity amongst Christian apologists, but that unfortunately did not last long. They couldn't hide their disagreement and differences on a topic. This reminds me of a comment from a brother. He said, "Talk to 5 Christians individually. Ask them, how do you describe the Trinity and justify the divinity of Jesus? You will get 6 different answers, because the 6th one is yours." Going back to the video.
Okay, like,
Is this serious though? Or
By the way, this is amazing.
Yes.
Go into
is this guy really serious?
Guys, this is amazing. You don't realize. I mean, historically, Muslims slaughtered each other over whether they believe the Quran is created or uncreated. Go into a group, go into a dawa gathering right now and walk in there and say, "Does Allah have actual body parts or not?" And watch them flip out on each other. Because the Salafis say yes, most other groups say no.
Yeah, and like when we describe the Trinity, like you have Latin models, you have social models. Like, I don't think Latin models are heretical or like they don't even get me angry. I go, "Oh, that's an interesting perspective. I may slightly disagree, F, Y, and Z." Similar with a lot of things like Markian priority versus Matthewian priority. Like, no one like is fighting over this. It's like, "Oh, okay, well, we disagree, sir, on a simple thing not related to salvation. Who cares? Like, it's not the end of the world. We're not ready to tear each other to parts like at the Battle of Yamama."
Oh, these people are funny.
Actual name of the battle. All right, let me play that. Let me get to the big clip where they show we're so divided.
Video. By the way, Christian asked a question that if Christ's return is dependent.
What's up?
Oh, I was just saying, the Battle of Yamama, yes, guys, it was an actual battle, but that was part of the wars that Abu Bakr fought after the death of Muhammad. Some of those battles were against people who just had a different view of how to pay zakat. So it's not people who were renouncing Islam. They just had a different view on an appropriate practice. And Abu Bakr said, "I'm coming to slaughter you. If you disagree with me about anything, you have to die." And these guys are talking about division. This is amazing.
All right. I think I froze there for a second. Sorry, everybody. I think I'm back now, though. All right. I'm going to hit play.
Christian asked a question that if Christ's return is dependent on Christians spreading the gospel, what happens if believers don't fulfill this? Listen to the answer Michael gave and how quickly Jon McCray disagrees.
Hey, Mike, I think you said in one of your vids on Christ's return that part of the process of it depends on Christians spreading the gospel. What happens if believers don't fulfill this? Because my position is that Christ will work through the body to eventually do it. And again, you go back 2,000 years and see right now, people think you were living in the right period just from the amount of technology and good that we have here. They would feel like we were living in a paradise. And so how did we get from point A to point B? Well, Christianity was crucial in that, and Christianity will be crucial into getting us to that period. We just have to trust Christ's plan and keep spreading the gospel, and we will get there, in my view, which is the post-mill view.
Yeah, I don't have a solid view on eschatology. I lean toward dispensationalism.
Look at how repugnant and irritating dispensationalism sounds to Mike. Dry Wood, on the other hand, seem very confused and will probably be thinking, this two are wrong, and how
IG's face looks hilarious. I love it. That's hilarious. Look how repugnant.
So angry.
Funny.
That was obviously sarcasm. Like,
yeah. And I even said, I was like, I don't even have a strong
Look how enraged you are.
stance on. Yeah, in the clip too, I said I don't have a strong stance on eschatology. Like I was like, I don't take a firm position. So that's even funnier because it's like, yeah, we're like, oh, that's super funny.
Look at inspiring philosophy, trying to hold back his rage, but unable to withhold his disgust. He is clearly on the verge of murdering Jon McCray.
I still love that still
his
shot.
hatred
That's
for
hilarious.
Islam. This is, guys, this is what we're dealing with when we deal with dawa.
Make a fake IP account with that face, somebody. And call it I can't pee. Call it I can't pee. That'd be good.
You see, John insulted me. I must destroy him now because we're so divided. I'm his arch nemesis.
how ignorant it will be for him to agree with either of them. For those who probably don't know, dispensationalism is a system for analyzing and interpreting the Bible in a more literal sense, focusing on biblical covenants, Israel and the church, as well as the end of days.
Yeah, so but I mean, I it's something that I haven't I hold with an open hand, so I'm not really sure. So I'm not sure if I agree with Michael's view.
By not really sure, John means he's absolutely sure, and we therefore are going to fight, apparently, because he's so dead set on it, and I'm so against it. Like, we can't even be in the same room anymore. It's ridiculous. It's. I was so mad at you, John.
We're sure that as soon as this live stream was over, one of them murdered the other two because of their hatred.
I was so mad at John. I drove to his house in the rain, and then I got out, and he met me outside. And I said, "How could you do this to me, John?" A single tear came down his cheek. And then I called a taxi in the middle of Colorado. I got in, put my hand on the window as it drove away slowly. And we haven't spoken since. It was horrible. So David's about to get a nice shout out here because apparently this guy's interpretation of what David's about to do is pretty dumb.
I'm not sure if I agree with Michael's view.
Exactly. You think they are together, but their hearts are diverse. It gets even worse.
We'll see.
Look, even if you don't agree with my view, you should be living like a post-mill.
You're a preterist, so
I'm partial preterist.
Full preterist.
No, you should be.
Dry Wood had to quickly save.
Wait, is he putting predators up on there?
Yes, he is.
Is he putting predators? You're predators. No, you're a predator. No, Daniel Hagekishu's a predator. It says it on his laptop.
I was like, does he not realize these eschatological views are so like minute in terms of disputes? Like,
hey, somebody started that IP account. You see it? Did it the last super chat? It says John Hayton IP, and it has that face. Perfect.
Holy crap, that was quick. That was so quick.
I love it. That's hilarious.
People are quick.
Do it that quick, man. Oh, I don't know how they do it. All right, let's see what he says about partial predator. Yes, I prey on Daniel Hagekishu and his horrible arguments.
You should be.
Dry Wood had to quickly save the day because he knew it could get physical. However, he did it in the.
That's right. That's right. We were about to throw fists.
I can't tell if this is a joke.
That's what I said. I was like, this can't be serious. I was like, it's super funny.
David Wood.
So dramatic.
Dry Wood had to jump in between. Dry Wood had to break it up like a boxing referee before these two murdered each other.
That is so funny.
Like, do they like, are they like, this honestly just feels like just incredible dishonesty to try to make Christians look divided, because we're obviously goofing around. Like, no one's serious here. These are minor issues to disagree
That's
about.
hilarious.
In the most bizarre way imaginable.
Every Christian should be living.
Better a preterist than a pedophile.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
They're trying to meme us. They're trying. They're so
trying.
This is such a precious
They're
video.
Oh boy.
Since I heard you guys in here referring to some people who support child marriage.
Stay away from Islam. Right.
We all know dry wood is shameless, but one may
Actually funny.
This is funny.
I love it. It's so. I had to share this with the world because it's amazing.
still beg to understand why the whole conversation degenerated this quick that dry wood had to insult the honor of our noble prophet unprovoked.
This is not serious. If this is serious,
joke.
it's so funny.
They can't be
like,
this.
It's the conversation apparently degenerated so quick that David had to lash out in anger by attacking his beloved Muhammad. It just was so, it caused so much rage in him.
I have to look
From
it up
Islam.
because
I feel like this had to, like someone has an account where they use AI and you tell AI, you're like, AI, hey, make a video that's as dumb as possible, making fun of these guys for the dumbest reasons imaginable. And this is what they came up with.
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. And guys, this got 1,000 likes, just so you know.
that's what I
because
was looking at. I know. I was thinking maybe the people thought it was a joke. Maybe that's why they hit like on it.
No, you go read the Muslim comments. They're
No,
like,
that's what I was looking for.
That's
That's exactly what
I
I
wanted
was
you to
looking
show. I wanted you to show comments because I don't know what they are, but I guarantee they're like, "Whoa, great point. Christians are divided." You see,
if Wood had
That is
self-respect,
so
he would
funny.
stay away from camera. Like, yeah. Yeah, same stuff.
That is so funny. Oh my goodness. Yeah. All right. Well, that's funny.
Yeah, welcome to Islam. I mean, like, wow.
Right.
We all know dry wood is shameless, but one may still beg to understand why the whole conversation degenerated this quick that dry wood had to insult the honor of our noble prophet unprovoked. The answer is simple. Allah said, "This is because they are a people who do not reason."
That's right. That back to Surah 59, which is clearly about Christians.
How does that even follow, though? That doesn't even follow.
the
That's so funny.
the Jewish tribe of the Banu Nadir is actually about us.
That's right. And I just like, David, why is it that when Christians start fighting, we're ready to tear each other to pieces, you immediately just want to attack Muhammad unprovoked by bringing up pedophile? I'm like,
Well, it's funny because it's almost the same thing that you just saw in the video. You guys are saying preterist and stuff, and I'm thinking of someone's going to think that you're talking about saying predator, but he actually did, right? I'm thinking, oh, predator. And then, of course, you think of Daniel Hakikachu's Predator laptop when he's defending sex with 4- and 5-year-olds and so on. And then so the joke was just right there. Don't blame me, guys.
This is crazy. I look at the comments. People actually think that
Couldn't
that's
be helped.
legit.
Couldn't
That's
be
so
helped.
funny.
yeah,
That is
yeah.
so
People,
funny.
this is typical with Muslims. They make a
This is what we're
video.
dealing with.
They have such in-group loyalty. They sacrifice reason and truth constantly. They never correct each other. They just immediately come in and go, "Yes, you're right, brother. Alhamdulillah." And it's like, do you guys even care about what the truth is? Or are you just so desperate to just show in-group loyalty? You'll sacrifice reason on the altar of just getting along with each other. Like, it's insane, the in-group loyalty and how toxic it is, because it actually works against them, because people on the outside are like, you guys don't care about facts. You just will defend each other to death, regardless of facts. It's crazy sometimes. And by the way, that's
crazy because look, I mean, he's
good.
Oh, I was just pointing out, it's crazy. He's saying we are a people who don't reason. And this is a guy who made an entire video out of John going, actually, I'm not sure about that. That's it. That was the hostility and aggression. And Mike going, oh, come on. Look at his face, right? This guy made an entire video about this. And all his dumb followers are going, oh, great point. The Christians are divided. We will humiliate them. And we're the ones who don't reason, not them.
Yeah. And the funny thing is like, their in-group loyalty only goes so far as like their specific groups in Islam. Like the Shias and the Sunnis like attack each other all the time, as well as the Ahmadis and the Abadis. And it's like, Like they have it's such in-group loyalty, but then there's so much division even in Islam. It's like this weird paradox. Like I don't know. It's crazy.
Oh, hey, no, when we did Islamicize Me, I was getting messages from Shias because most of Islamicize Me is kind of dealing with the material. We're quoting the Sunni hadiths. So I was getting messages from Shias saying, "Oh yes, I'm sharing this with my whole family. Keep it up, brother. Keep exposing them." It's like these are Muslims. These were Muslims cheering for us and Islamicize Me because we are going after Sunni passages in the hadiths, and they loved it.
That's funny. Didn't we have an episode where I converted to Shia? We had something like that, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
And then you practiced
That's why we
taqiyya.
waterboarded and
Yeah,
stuff.
you lied about it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I also got messages from Quran only Muslims thanking me for exposing all the stupidity that you find in the hadith. So that's multiple Muslim groups who actually will cheer for Christians making fun of mainstream Sunni Islam.
Awesome.
People who do not reason. What any reasonable person will do first is to accept that Christian theology has lots of holes in it. Secondly, a reasonable person will seek to resolve these problems by way of having conversations and coming to a common term.
A reasonable person would also recognize the abhorrent nonsense you see in Islam. Like, again, as David said earlier, does Allah have body parts or not? Is the Quran correct that the Jews say Ezra is the son of God? Okay. Does the Quran actually teach that Jesus was crucified or not? I mean, you could do this with Islam easily. I mean, like for him to just like throw that and pretend like there's holes in Christian theology when there's all these problems with Islam. Like, wow, like you're really just trying to deflect there.
Christian theology has lots of holes in it. Secondly, a reasonable person will seek to resolve these problems by way of having conversations and coming to a common term. Drywood knew if he did not intervene and take their minds away from this argument by throwing Islam and Muhammad under the bus, the argument will never stop and will eventually expose their enmity towards one another. Drywood.
You saved the day, David. You saved us. You saved us from destroying each other.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's what I do. It's what I do. I see two Christians ready to fight, and I go, "Hey, at least we're not supporting child marriage." And they all go, "Yay, we're all on the same side of that issue." Building bridges, building bridges, uniting Christians is what I do.
I just love that this guy who is so reasonable, unlike us Jews, Christians, whatever, Sewer 59 says, like, he doesn't read it. But anyway, he just can read your mind, David. He's so knowledgeable. He knows what you're thinking in that situation.
Would seem to have a different opinion from theirs, else he would have said, well, Michael is right or John is right, but he didn't. It is obvious they have no solutions to these theological differences. Every one of them only believes in what makes him feel good. That's Christianity in a nutshell. So brothers and sisters.
What? That's so...
David, why did you take my son against John?
Because I was actually thinking I do not have a position on this.
How dare you? How dare you?
I don't have a position.
I'm now going to have to change my headline to David's arch nemesis, because that's clearly the case now, because you've insulted me. How dare you?
Yeah, I was like, I don't actually have a position on this, but these guys are about to kill each other if I don't jump in. So let me distract everyone by bringing up Muhammad having sex with a prepubescent little girl.
He said, what did he say? That we believe in it because all our positions are because it makes us feel good. Like on eschatology, I'm like, so strange. Anyways, interesting video. That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think any of us would be like, if like amillennialism or post-millennialism or premillennialism, like we'd be like, no one's gonna care. Like,
yeah, it's not that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hey, I don't have normal human feelings, and since we decide our positions based on our feelings, maybe that's why I don't have a position on that.
He's figured it out.
You see?
Or John is right, but he didn't.
Here's what.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just want to say, here's what's funny, right? Because we're pointing out all the different disagreements that Muslims have, right? So on the issue like Muhammad's body parts or something like that. I mean, Allah's body parts. Does Allah have actual body parts or not? We wouldn't say that it's just that Muslims arguing about that is just their feelings. You adopt whatever position your feelings dictate. There are reasons for those positions, right? And some Muslims think that the arguments in favor of Allah having actual eyes, even if we can't comprehend what they're like, they're actual eyes, they're actual hands, they're actual foot or 2 feet, depending on who you go with. There are Muslims who think there are better arguments that his body parts are literal than other people think, and other people think no, there are better arguments for the position that these are not referring to literal body parts. But we don't just say it's based on your feelings.
Yeah.
But we could, if we wanted to just be jerks, we could say, and they just go with whatever their feelings say.
We would say that if we couldn't reason, right? That's what he said. The people who don't reason.
Yeah, exactly.
It is obvious they have no solutions to these theological differences. Every one of them only believes in what makes him feel good. That's Christianity in a nutshell. So, brothers and sisters, this is how Islam defeated these three. Well, the name of a movie comes to mind. I remain your brother Abdul. Catch you in the next one.
The Islam defeated us, ladies and gentlemen. It's over. We were destroyed.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Yeah.
If I were to try to make the most embarrassingly terrible response to us, I could not have done something that terrible.
Okay,
like if I tried, like, what is the dumbest response I could give?
Okay, IP, try to still man here. Let's see, what is the, I guess, what would you say is good about the video? Because I would say, first off, what's good about the video is maybe the editing is decent. I thought it was pretty good in some parts. Editing was decent. But still man the argument here. Let's see, if you put it in the strongest form that this argument could be, how would we go?
Okay. Christians disagree on an eschatology thing. Therefore, they're deeply divided to the point where they're about to slaughter each other at a battle like the first generation of Muslims were about to. Because, therefore, this is somehow evidence Islam is true.
Yeah, Islam wins.
Like, what? Like, that's their argument.
Yeah, that's
really bad. It's an hilarious. I hope he never deletes it. It's an hilarious video, really showing how bad the dawa has become. Like, this is the kind of stuff they got to resort to. Just they're trying to do character assassination, and they're not even good at it. It's like, could you at least be good at character assassination? You guys suck at this.
I'm trying to see. Oh yeah, so that's one of his most popular videos. It looks like so.
Yeah, I know. It's popular too. I was
that's
like, God.
Yeah, funny guy. That guy's a funny guy. Whoever that is, funny guy.
And by the way, it's kind of funny because I mean, I was thinking this years ago that these guys would like come with insults and so on. And I'm thinking, you guys have the most easily mockable fake prophet in history. I mean, how many things are there in the Muslim sources that are so easy to make fun of? And I'm sitting there thinking, guys, you do not want to get into an insult battle. If you are the most fragile group in the world when it comes to insult mockery, you should not be responding with insults, because if you do, if you want to go down this road, we have a much easier target. And two, I think we're just way better at it than you. I think we are way better. We will be way better at making fun of your fake prophet than you will be at making fun of us. You're going to lose that. It's going to be disastrous. It's not going to go the way you think. And they still do it. I will mock and insult them. Great. Good job. Good job. Let me know how that's going for you after a while.
All right, let's get to some super chats here. Allah skeets in all creation. Looks like there's room for Mike Winger on there. David, do you think there's room for Mike Winger on here?
No, because if he wanted to be on a show with me, he'd have to bring a freaking army.
You see, look how divided we are. David and Mike can't get along. It's clear. It's clear.
And in this clip, David Wood clearly said that this other Christian would have to bring an army for war. These are Christians who are only united by their hatred of Muhammad.
But you see, Dr. Wood, the first generation of Muslims were almost all martyred. Of course, they were the best generation by Islam standards.
Yeah. So you guys want to talk about something more interesting?
What's that?
I don't know. I was just thinking anything more interesting. How about you guys? You guys been following Sneako's apologetics for underage marriage and stuff like that?
Oh, I did see some of that. I responded to him on Twitter because like his arguments were so incredibly dumb. Like I can't even and I even asked him to debate me. So I said like, hey, you want to actually have a debate? Never. Of course, he's never going to respond. But I was like, hey, you think you can defend this? Let's have a debate. And yeah, he made some pretty dumb arguments. I can pull them up here in a minute if I get to it.
I'm wondering
now,
how many people
everyone,
realize
look
that
at what just happened in this video. David Wood
Drywood,
and Mike
hold on,
Jones
Drywood's-
were about to disagree with one another.
Drywood stepping in. Here we
When
go.
Jon McCray had to come in and divert the topic to Sneeko because of his hatred for Islam.
Islam. And Drywood has to hop in and break it up once again.
Yeah, so he put out some really dumb argument. Basically, it was like he said like the Bible never condemns child marriage, therefore it's like okay, was kind of what he was going at. And I'm like, this is so stupid. The Bible does not give you an explicit list of literally everything that is wrong. It teaches you about what is good so you can deduce proper action. So I gave him a bunch of studies showing child marriage is harmful. Therefore, it's sin because of the harm it causes naturally. So yeah.
I don't think people realize
like
too.
the Bible doesn't say not to torture old ladies for fun. Therefore, torturing old ladies for fun is okay because the Bible doesn't specifically say don't torture old ladies for fun. Right.
Yeah.
It says things like do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You got the principle.
Right.
Yeah. People probably don't realize too, because most people don't realize that they're like, I would be thinking too, if I didn't know about Islam, I'd be like, why is he arguing for child marriage? That sounds like a bizarre thing for someone to just come out and start being an apologist for. But people don't realize it's because of his influence from Islam, like Muhammad hijab and stuff like that, coming from his conversation with them. So I might make a video on that at some point in the future, because I think people don't realize that. Most people don't realize that this is like a Muslim thing, I don't think, rather than it is like most people aren't going around arguing for child marriage. The only people I know of that argue for child marriage are all Muslims. I don't know anybody else that is. So
yeah,
there are groups, but they're like pedophile groups. And they're normally frowned upon until they're going to unite with Muslims on this issue. I have to say, though, as far as now you're seeing it become mainstream and people find out about it, dude, that plan was started in probably, I don't know, 2006 or something like this, maybe 2000. No, it would have to be 2006. So Nabil converted in 2005. At some point, very shortly after that, we were going to start, like within a year, we were starting debating. And so I ordered the Zakir Naik debate collection. And I was thinking that Zakir Naik had done like dozens of debates. It turns out he'd done like 2 or 3 ever. And so the debate collection was 2 debates and then a bunch of DVDs of him like giving lectures and so on. I was like, this is not a debate collection. Anyway, I realized back then, and I'd seen it, but I'd also heard it from people who debated back then, that when you wanted to debate a Muslim, your Christian organization would have to go to a Muslim organization saying, we want to arrange a debate. And then the Muslim organization would respond and they would say, okay, here's our debater. It's going to be Jamal Badawi or Shabir Ali or something like this. And here are the topics that our side is willing to debate. And it's going to be, did Jesus die on the cross? Did Jesus rise from the dead? Is Jesus God? Is the New Testament reliable? Does the Trinity make sense? It's going to be something like that. It's a Christian topic. They only wanted to debate Christian topics usually back then, most Muslim debaters. And so Christians would go along with this and they would have the debate, and the debate would be on Jesus' death or Jesus' resurrection or something, or the Trinity. And the Muslim would be attacking the entire time. And what the other thing they would the Muslim organizations would do back then is they would say to the Christians beforehand, if anyone criticizes Muhammad or the Quran during this debate, the debate is over, all the Muslims are leaving. And so and Christians would agree to this stuff, and they would go in and do a debate, understanding, wait a minute, they get to be attacking our position the entire time, and we cannot say a word of response against their position. We only get to defend ours. We cannot respond to theirs, and so on. And I'm sitting there thinking, and Christians fall for this? And it's like, the response was, it's the only way to arrange the debate. This is the only way they'll debate. And so back then, you're talking like 2006, sitting there with Nabil, I was like, we need to fix this right now. We cannot continue down this road. So we're going to change it. We're going to say we want a topic, and then we're going to tell Muslims of the world, which one of you is willing to defend this topic. We're not going to the Muslim organization and let them pick the topics and all this stuff. We're going to say it online. Hey, who's willing to defend the perfect preservation of the Quran? Who's willing to defend Muhammad's prophethood and so on? And whoever is willing to stand up, fine, because you had basically a younger generation. You had a younger generation of more aggressive Muslims. And here's the thing. The older generation of Muslim debaters, they understood, if we never allow these things to be said on stage, then Muslims and non-Muslims won't know about it. If we never allow a situation where someone's going to bring up Muhammad and Aisha on stage, people never find out about it. And so we're switching it. It's like, no, we'll have debates on Muhammad. We will bring up this stuff. And the younger generation of Muslims were thinking, we can respond to them on Muhammad and Aisha. We can answer these things. We can answer these things. And so great. The Muslim debater gets up on stage and he explains why it was good for Muhammad to have sex with a prepubescent girl. Or if he wants to say pubescent back then, whatever. But the Muslim would defend Muhammad's relationship with a 9-year-old girl. And he's thinking, I gave a brilliant response to this, not realizing no one in that crowd knew about that before. The Muslims didn't know about it. The Christians didn't know about it. The atheists didn't know. They're sitting there going, wait a minute, that actually happened? Fast forward through 2 decades of this almost now. Fast forward 2 decades, now they have to shout it from the rooftops that they're anyway. It's just cool that you can do stuff and you see what happens down the road, and it actually works.
Yeah. And I've been keeping
this
them,
stuff's becoming.
I've been keeping them talking about child marriage as much as I can, because they end up showing more people that's what they defend. That's what the religion's about. And then it shows how much they actually hate humanity, because they're more worried about doing damage control for Muhammad, that they'll promote child marriage, which causes immense harm to girls. Like, this is not even debated among experts. They want to cause immense harm to girls so they can do damage control for Muhammad, because they think they'll gain power somehow. And really, they're just broadcasting to the world they're defenders of child marriage. So they're doing so much damage, and I'm going to keep them talking about it as much as I can.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, Muhammad Hijab a few years ago, we've talked about this before, but Muhammad Hijab a few years ago did a poll for Muslims. He said, hey, Muslims, when you doubt your religion, when you start to doubt your religion, what is it that causes those doubts? What is it that's making you doubt whether this is true? The number one reason was moral problems with Muhammad. And so it's just amazing that moral problems with Muhammad, which they didn't know about 20 years ago. All they heard about was how Muhammad was perfect in every way. Now, all of a sudden, they're finding out all this information, and it's being brought by Christians and atheists. And then the Muslims are thinking, whoa, my imam never told me this. Why am I hearing this stuff from Christians and atheists? But that's where they're hearing it from. And then they have to go to their leader. So now their dawa guys have to defend all this stuff. They have to defend it because they have Muslims who are starting to doubt their religion because they're finding all this stuff out about Muhammad. Anyway, long story short, Muhammad Hijab asked Muslims, what's the biggest source of doubts for you? It was Muhammad's character problems, moral problems with Muhammad. And now they're all defending like child marriage and stuff like this. So yes, they don't realize the damage they're doing, because Muslims are watching this going, oh my goodness, we are now the world's leading defenders of child marriage because of Muhammad. So that'll be okay with some of the Muslims, but other Muslims are going to be like, I can't defend this stuff anymore. This is disgusting.
Yeah.
Islam is inherently an extremely legalistic by nature. Of course, it can't take jokes, nor can it tolerate them. Yeah, I think it just comes with the culture in a lot of ways. I get this a lot with them. They don't understand the jokes, and they're always super serious. They need a drink, honestly, if you ask me. Beardless AP is here. He says, if you were to ask a Muslim why did the chicken cross the road, they would answer to be slaughtered halal style for KFC. Alhamdulillah. John, where are your bookshelves?
At my office. I ran out of my office that I record at, so I'm at home right now.
So you see, he left him at work.
Yeah,
He's gonna
that's
bring
right.
work home.
That's right.
Are you during it just saying he there, not even so?
What? Are you
Exactly.
just saying here or not even?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, we just got 1,000 watchers on YouTube. Awesome. Welcome, everyone. Let's see here. Man, I can't believe I got accused of using an AI voice when you watched my video, given how obvious it is when it really happens. My goodness. Sheikh
Solaria. Yeah, so Solaria is not British, but used like an extreme British voice in a video.
Oh,
that's why I was like, "Is this AI?"
Oh,
This is like extreme.
Sheikh Mike Wingeling. Abdul is right. Just look how David constantly commits unprovoked acts of aggression against Mike Winger. The moment Islam disappeared, it would be the WWE.
I love these fake accounts. These are hilarious.
Unprovoked. Yeah, but unprovoked. Unprovoked.
You see,
Mike Wing, like his entire life and ministry and every video he puts out is a provocation, and his face and his nerd glasses, one massive provocation. Anyway, sorry. So just don't say it's unprovoked.
Real question is, IP, are you undercover to destroy the Wingelings? I can't say if I am or not. Why would blow my cover? What are you talking about?
So, everybody, so I started calling Winger Wingeling like 5 years ago. Remember, I used to be like, yo, Wingeling. And now the whole internet.
No, I got it from you. I got it from you.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
like
I spread it. I spread it. Yeah, I got it from you. You said it years ago, and then I stole
hilarious.
it and then used
Not
it,
the whole
and then it caught on.
Because every time he calls me, I'll be like, Wingeling, every single time he calls me. So it's funny. Now the whole internet's saying it. That's super funny to me.
Fareed was saying that because you no longer take the most charitable interpretation of Islamic passages, you are being disingenuous, David.
What? I specifically said it. I said, hey, I'll explain the reason. This is exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm going to announce it. I mean, I've said it, but I'm going to announce it in a very clear, succinct video. We bring up something like Muhammad having sex with a 9-year-old girl. Why do we bring that up? Because we have literally hundreds of passages saying that's what happened. When we bring up that issue, they start saying, oh, but Rebecca was 3. Okay, that's a lie. Now, in response to us telling the truth about your prophet, you're lying about prophets in the Bible. You're lying about Abraham, suggesting that he sent out someone to find a 3-year-old for his son. You're lying about Isaac, suggesting that he, as a grown man, had sex with a 3-year-old. You're lying about multiple biblical prophets. You'll lie about Mary. You'll lie about Jesus, all to defend Muhammad. So and then they'll turn right around and say, but we respect all prophets. No, you don't. You respect one prophet, and you will gladly throw everyone else ever under the bus for the sake of that one prophet. Now, so they're in this situation where, in response to us telling the truth about their religion, they will lie about people in our religion. So I can't as a Christian turn around and say, okay, everyone now go lie about the Muslim sources. I can't do it. Lying is fine in Islam. It's not fine in Christianity. So I cannot tell people to lie. But there are all these situations in Islam where they want us to give the benefit of the doubt. And we would normally be inclined to give the most charitable interpretation. I'm saying I'm not giving the charitable interpretation anymore. I'll go with the worst interpretation. Not lying, just going with the worst interpretation. So as an example, Muhammad has semen stains all over his clothes, right? Muhammad's walking around, Aisha's scratching off the semen and washing off the semen and so on. The most charitable interpretation is still gross. It's that Muhammad used the garment that he wore to the mosque as a semen rag for himself. So he goes and he has sex, and then he just wipes off with his robe and then goes and hugs it out with his bros at the mosque. That's already nasty and disgusting, extremely, right? But that's the most charitable interpretation. The less charitable interpretation is that's Diha al-Kalbi, or one of his other buddies, skating all over him. So I'm just saying, I'm not going with the charitable interpretation anymore. I'm going to assume that this is his buddies skeeting all over him, and that it's Muhammad's companions who are using him as a semen rag. All right, that's what I'm going to go with that interpretation. Same on all these other things. You'll have these passages that talk about Muhammad being in the garments of his wives. And Muslims will say, well, what it means there is it means blankets or it means house. They'll just say anything. Okay, what it says is garments of his wives or dress of his wives. Okay, so I'm not giving you the benefit of the doubt anymore. I'm saying Muhammad is a cross-dresser, period. I'm not giving the benefit of the doubt. I'm saying I'm not giving the charitable interpretation anymore. Same thing with Muhammad going down into the grave with the dead woman to lay with the dead woman. The meaning in Arabic is ambiguous, like slept with her in English is ambiguous. It can mean I went to sleep, or it can mean I had sex with her. Same thing in Arabic. So I'm just saying, okay, now I'm going to give it the less charitable interpretation of Muhammad was having sex with her. So that's all I'm saying. And the point is, guys, you cannot just flat out lie about us and then demand that we constantly give the most charitable interpretation of everything we read in your sources. No, I'm not going to lie about your sources, but I will no longer give the most charitable interpretation. Not when I'm talking to you dawa clowns.
So yeah, and Fareed will just take that out of context and not tell his audience that's what's going on. Just pretend like.
Keep doing it, Fareed.
Michael Servatis was executed by John Calvin, but it was more for being a stalker than a heretic. Yeah, I'm not actually sure of the history on that, so I can't really say. I need to look more into it. Mike Jones, Mike Jokes, you see? Yes, exactly. That'll be my new name. Maybe the dawa people can call me that. If it
you should have a separate channel, Mike Jokes, and it's all Mike just jokes. You telling jokes.
If it meant Islam ceased to exist, I would live the rest of my life being called a heretic. Seems like a fair offer. I see what he's doing there. Yeah, get the point. Yeah, for sure. David, I was wrong. You do reduce Muslim harassment versus Christians. I apologize for doubting you. I repent. I hope you unblock at IHTA Cast on Twitter. You can unblock him.
Why should I? I block people every day. I block people who are wasting my time. It's like, I'm about to respond to this. No, I should be doing something else. All right, I'll just block this person. I don't have to respond. Let me look this up. I'm going to look up this person at IHTA Cast.
Probably some.
I don't remember what I blocked.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you can proceed. I will examine the evidence in the history of this person.
All right. Ew, dispensationalism. I hate it, John. I hate you. That's right. There I am. Yeah. See, I sent in a super chat. We're so divided. We hate each other.
John hidden IP. I love it.
Oh, by the way, I forget how to say his name. It's in the chat if you want to say hi. It's Etisham. I think that's how you say it.
Oh, Etisham?
Yeah.
Yeah, Etisham. He came and he insulted AP, calling him names and stuff in the chat yesterday when we were live, and then AP ripped up a page of the Quran, and it was all Etisham's fault. And Etisham is actually commanded. It is a command in Islam not to insult people who are going to insult your religion in response. But fortunately for everyone who likes a good Quran desecration, people like Etisham hate AP more than they love Islam, and so they'll keep doing it even if it's causing them to violate their own God and their own prophet.
Remember that if you insult AP, it means you hate him more than you love Islam or Muhammad. So answer for that on Judgment Day. Someone beat me to the joke. This is so sad. Oh, this was another person. So here's the first fake account. Here's the next fake account. Just keeps going. And here,
disgusted IP.
This is a super chat from me, though. This is a one from me. This is Buff IP. That is me. Logic, humor, muscles, and being base are haram. Exactly. And so this is me, just so you guys are aware. Okay. We're all on the same page. Apostate Aladdin fan here. No such thing as jokes. You guys must really hate each other. Yes, absolutely. No jokes allowed in Islam. No music, no pork, no alcohol, no fun, no jokes.
Yeah, apostate. I call him apostate Aladdin, but I don't recall seeing anything of him except for one clip where he's blasting away at AP. I think it's for like, and how can you share live streams with a Christian, and how can you say these offensive? Imagine a Muslim comes along and he hears you disrespecting Muhammad. How would that make him feel? He's all like this. So anyway, it's but yeah, he's another one who doesn't understand sarcasm, doesn't understand jokes, but he's an ex-Muslim. But he'll look at what AP could actually say. If we're live right now with AP, and AP could say, oh, yes, I'm gonna go kill all the Muslims. Apostate Aladdin would play that clip. Look, here he is saying that he wants to kill Muslims. He would not understand, like, no matter how obvious it is that he is making fun of something, the guy would not understand it. It's weird.
It's got to be a cultural thing. It's like an Islamic cultural thing. It just generates that mentality more often than you see elsewhere. I don't know.
Isn't that guy an atheist, by the way?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I always thought it was Aladdin, not Aladdin.
Maybe.
No, it is Aladdin. I call him Aladdin from I didn't see the movie. I saw some clips, but I think he called himself Prince or King Aladdin or something like that. It was a Sacha Baron Cohen movie, The Dictator or whatever. Wasn't he Aladdin in that?
I don't get it. So he's upset with AP's approach, but then he calls himself the apostate in his title. That seems like it'd be offensive too. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Apparently, again, I'm just going by a clip we saw at one point, but he sounds like you have to be really, really nice to the Muslims to win their hearts over and stuff. And what do you?
That ain't gonna work.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't. Yeah. They respond to people blasting away at their fake prophet. That's what they respond to.
It works for some, just not all, I guess. You know, some people are different, but a lot of the
not the dawas, not the dawas.
And by the way, yeah, and by the way, that's why you don't see like me and AP going around to look, apostate Aladdin. His approach is entirely wrong. This is why we understand that there can be different approaches because there are different kinds of people. But you've got these people who no, here's how I do things. Therefore, everyone must do things like this. I mean, you're talking about ex-Muslim atheists and so on having different approaches. Yeah. But we've been dealing with this as Christians for a long time, right? Like Christians, no, David, you just have to preach. You just preach the gospel to them. You don't criticize their beliefs and so on. So we're familiar with that. But notice, I mean, if a Christian says, "Hey, I don't criticize Islam. I just preach the gospel," you're not going to hear me object. It's great. Go preach the gospel. But it's weird that it's weird that people have the position, okay, I just preach the gospel. I don't criticize Islam. Therefore, everyone else needs to be like this. And you'll have those kinds of Christians like, no, there are different kinds of people who respond differently. And that's why it's good that we have a variety of approaches.
Yeah. And everybody's instinct is to think that their way, what would work for them works for everybody. But that's because they just don't realize like people are just wired.
That's another problem.
And that's one thing I've learned over the years too, because there's some approaches that I cannot stand. Like when people are like, holding up billboards and the billboards and then holding up signs that's like this. But I mean, I know like 2 people that ended up converting to Christianity based off of billboards, you know what I mean? Those type billboards. And I know one person that converted off of tracts. So that's where I started being like, well, God uses different ways to reach different people. So who am I to say that other people can't use this approach? So that's why I'm easier on approaches now than I was back in the past. So yeah.
Narrated Schmantz. Abdul responds, hits upload, and sat back in his chair with a sense of pride. He looked out the window and smiled to himself. He's done a good day's work. Soon the Christian edifice would topple. That's right. Abdul responds, he has destroyed the entire edifice of Christendom. We are destroyed because of our divisions. We've been exposed beyond belief. We're ready to tear each other apart.
I honestly don't think that guy wrote that script. I think he put it through AI because the way it was worded and stuff was super funny. It was all dramatic, like a story. It's like, just wait, you know? And I think he probably just put it through AI to have AI. He probably like had the conclusion in mind and then had the thing right because that's so funny.
And that's one of his most popular videos. That's like his 8th most popular video of all time. It's so bad.
Yeah. I love it though. I think it's funny. I hope more people see it.
Muslim, look, the sociopath is the most empathetic of the Christians, says Tim Peterson.
What does that say about Christianity, man?
David, Edishem wants to debate you on Islamic evidence or evidence for Islam, I guess.
Nope, he's temporarily blacklisted for coming with endless insults. And then he called AP my boyfriend, or me his boyfriend, or something like this. And it's we would tolerate that if he had this huge following. We'd put up with the insults to have a debate. But when no one pays any attention to what you say, it's like debating Nadir Ahmed or something. You know what I mean? It's like there's not a lot of point in it unless it's just unless there's some point you're trying to get across. It's like, why? No one listens to the guy. You can crush him. No one cares because he doesn't have any fans. And so it's kind of a similar situation. So, temporarily blacklisted until you learn some manners, Etishem. Next time, come respectfully. And you say, hey, you guys, I would like to have a debate. And I will only speak of you respectfully. And then maybe we'll consider it.
Yeah, that's the same thing happening with me. There's a lot of like smaller Muslim accounts like, I demand you debate me. And I'm like, you've got like 1,000 followers. No, first of all, if you had a big following, it'd be worth my time because you have a big audience. But you're small, you're full of insults. I'm not going to waste time with you. And of course, your arguments are horrendous. So like, just so all the Muslims are watching and they keep doing these ridiculous debate challenges, that's a simple standard. You get a big account, I'll consider it. If you're a small account and you can't show an ounce of respect, it ain't going to happen. This should be pretty obvious. So sorry, that's just how logic works. We can celebrate the end of the video by throwing Quranafetti. Yay! David the Wingeling says pre-mill is better than post-mill IP. So you see, David the Wingeling is a pre-mill. Therefore, David in the in the live stream, you need to be a post-mill to get back at David the Wingeling.
I'm just saying anyone who would title their account David the Wingeling should be blocked permanently, immediately, and humiliated.
How dare you pretend to be friends when we all know you disagree, says Apostate of Allah. Yes, it's all part of our evil plan to make sure we keep fighting against Islam, and otherwise we tear each other apart.
By the way, that is kind of an important that's kind of an important point in the sense that from an Islamic perspective, this guy says the Quran was created by Allah. This other person says, no, it's one of Allah's attributes. And historically, they would fight each other over that stuff. They would, again, you go back to the first generation, they had a disagreement. They would kill each other over it. Abu Bakr said, if you do not pay your zakat the way I say, if you think you can do it in some other way than what I say, I'm coming to kill you. So that's built into their religion. If you have a disagreement on pretty much anything, it's something you're going to fight over. But then they see they see you guys. So, well, I don't know about that. Oh, you see, they must be ready to kill each other because they're like us. So you guys were just talking about it in the sense that people tend to think that other people are like them, and you have Christians who think, well, this is what I would respond to. Therefore, Muslims are going to be the same. I prefer a gentle approach. Therefore, that's what Muslims would respond to. But Muslims also think like that, like, oh, hey, here's something we would fight over. Therefore, these guys would fight over it because they're like us. No, we're not. No, we're not.
Yeah, Islam is definitely more centered around values like order and power. And Christianity is more centered around love, charity, peace. I mean, I'm not saying though that you can find those values in both,
God,
but one is more centered on one group. And when they have that power dynamic, they just project that onto us. So they're kind of telling on themselves in a lot of ways about how divisive they can be with each other.
I just have to comment and object to the fact that everybody's calling them Wingeling with a hard R. So it's like a Wingerling. Is that what you said there? The Wingerling?
It's Wingeling.
Wingeling.
Yeah, it's Wingeling, like Dingaling. That's why it's messed up that he calls his followers Wingelings. Yeah, it's Wingeling like Dingaling. That's why his followers don't even realize that he's insulting them. When he calls them Wingelings, he's like, hey, shout out to all my Wingelings out there. It sounds like he's calling them Dingalings, right? And that's exactly what I would expect from an obvious sociopath.
David, I think Mike Winger is going to be at ETS, so we got to get you and him on a stream together. I think that'll be amazing.
If Mike Winger's at ETS, he's going to regret that for the rest of his life if he shows up.
Hey, IP, what resources could you recommend to refute the claim, the idea of that the devil has been influenced by the evil Persian god Let me think here. So I did. If you watched the stream I did last Thursday, I put up 2 quotes on how Zoroastrianism has been updated over time, and even the Zoroastrian works like the Zenavesta post-date Christianity. So go to that stream, watch the first slide I have up, and you'll see that that'd be a good place to start. And just you could show that there actually is evidence that the Zoroastrian beliefs are taking influence from Christianity and Islam over the centuries because of like how Zoroastrianism was being threatened. So there's a lot of logical leaps there to argue correlation causation. So I would take that approach, and that's going to give you a better shot. Response video, you 3 fighting WWE style. Yeah, which is fake, which would be hilarious. So we should totally do that.
We should come up with our own characters. That'd be funny.
Do any of you like the musical artist Michael Card?
Hey, but there could be vocab could be Prophet Muhammad in the wrestling match. And we're all fighting amongst ourselves, and then vocab shows up as Prophet Muhammad, and then we all start beating the crap out of him. And it unites us.
Love it. I love it.
Classic.
I get to put my hands on John first.
I love this comment. It says you can only say wing-a-ling with the hard R if you have a nerd pass. I like it.
Do any of you like the musical artist Michael Card on Dr. Wood's Jesus Revolution? He stated that Christian art entertainment should be epic. I find Michael Card to be very entertaining. I don't know who that is, but I can check him out. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the Bear Ehrman thesis? I don't remember what that is off the top of my head. I'd have to look at it. Sorry, I can't remember that one. Just she meant David Wood's review of JR. Okay. John Walton says Torah is to teach wisdom, not law. For example, Christians should have the wisdom to not molest little children. Yeah, and that's a good point about the Torah. It's not teaching, it's not laying down like laws of ancient Israel. It's teaching wisdom and how to act and respond. It's more like Proverbs. So if you were in ancient Israel, you wouldn't go to the Torah if you found an adulterer and just stone them. Like you take them before a judge, they'd look at circumstances, decide the case. It's for guidance. It's wisdom. It's not like these minimal law requirements, minimal sentences. We've misinterpreted that over the years. It's more like wisdom literature. So that's something to keep in mind. Sir, have you seen the YouTube channel Bitch Spot blog? No.
The Bauer Ehrman thesis is kind of exactly what you'd expect if you're talking about Christian origins. But it says, in its simplest form, it is the argument that Christianity, far from an original unitary Orthodox tradition that then fragmented and degenerated into various heresies and so on, was actually an originally diverse movement of equally legitimate conceptions. These equally legitimate conceptions then eventually became suppressed by various political plays and arbitrary fiats of the powers that be to create a rigid form of Christianity, which came to be known as orthodoxy.
Yeah, that's utter nonsense. All of our early texts confirm a high Christology. Like, as I document in my video, the early church taught the Trinity. We don't see this diversity. We don't see the Christians having this power in the first few centuries to do that kind of thing. They were a small persecuted minority. The best they could do with heretics was write like apologies to deal with. That's all they could do. They couldn't suppress them. And again, we see high Christology in Paul's letters.
Yeah, no, I mean, even apart from the issue of just like Christology, if you're saying that this Christianity was originally this set of diverse ideas and so on, I mean, we have records of the dispute. They did have issues where they had to actually argue these things. So with like the Judaizers, like you have to become a Jew, you have to be circumcised and become a Jew in order to become a Christian. And then other people saying, no, you do not have to do that. You have a covenant with Jesus and so on. So, I mean, we have records of these disputes. Yeah. So
I was thinking that too, because like you have Galatians.
You want to say there's more than that? What's your evidence?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I think David's got kind of a long
you can see it. You can. That's what I mean. You can see that there were. Oh yeah. So anyway, you can see that there were different positions and so on, but we have discussions of them, and there were reasons that certain positions won out. They had a better case.
Yeah, and First John. Remember when John's arguing in there, when he's arguing against like the Docetists, or probably likely the Docetists, and could be the early Gnostics. But when he's arguing, he's like, we've seen and touched Christ, and so he was arguing against those, and he's arguing who the Antichrist is. He's like, the Antichrist is the one who says that Jesus didn't come in the flesh, and so he's saying this, and when he's talking about the false apostles, when he says that verse that everybody likes to quote in 2:19, where it says that they were never really with us. There he's referring to those people too, saying that they didn't have the beliefs. And so, like how David was saying too, it's like they had good reasons for it, and because it was the ascension as well too with the apostles and stuff. So,
and again, I mean, you did have groups shooting off of Christianity, but the earliest texts confirm a high Christology. We don't see a lot of evidence that the heretical groups were part of some diverse majority in the beginning. That's a conjecture based on very limited data. And you can check out Michael F. Bird's book, Jesus Among the Gods, for why that's the case.
And I just don't know how the early Christians could have even stopped these other sects in that sense. Like how they didn't have, like you said earlier too, they didn't have enough power to be able to do it. Because they were trying to survive at this time. They weren't, trying to go and, just crucify everybody else. So I'd like to see what the paper's about. I'll probably take a look at it at some point. But
and by the way, if you look at if you look at our records of the rapid early spread of Christianity, the results are kind of exactly what you would expect, right? You have the apostles, and then some of them are going out as missionaries in other areas. You got the Apostle Paul and Barnabas and so on, and they're going around. But Christianity is spreading rapidly into a bunch of environments where you have a bunch of different religious backgrounds and so on, and a bunch of different philosophies. And so it's without the ability to crack down on, because Christians didn't have that sort of political power back then. You're going to get things like Gnosticism and so on as Christianity goes out and then encounters like Greek philosophy and so on.
Right.
You're going to get some weird hybrids for a while. And what happens later on is people are correcting the heresies by saying, look, we got to go back. We got to go back to the eyewitnesses. We got to go back to our documents, and you're going away from that and so on. So it's exactly what you would expect from a rapidly spreading movement. You would get some weird variations, but you can correct those weird variations because you had the witnesses.
Yeah. Thoughts on Jephthah's daughter? So that's in Judges. So from what I can gather from the data, it seems like he actually did offer her up in a burnt offering, but that's because he was a bad judge. That's the whole point of Judges. It's arranged topologically. So the good judges come first, and it deteriorates to the worst judges. Samson is the last one. Jephthah is number 7. So he's a bad judge. So some have argued he's not. He's just like having his daughter become like some sort of like nun kind of thing. And I'm not convinced of that. I think he's a bad judge doing a bad thing.
Yeah, he's not going to marry her off.
Yeah, not sanctioned by God at all. What is Islam's view on women? Well, women are they're totally equal. They're allowed to wear whatever they want. They can go wherever they want. I mean, it's just clearly in the Sharia, right, David?
Muhammad was the greatest feminist who ever lived.
You heard it here, folks.
Women are in charge of women because men spend money on the women. Marriages are more of a contractual agreement between the man and the woman. It's an exchange. You get the use of my private parts. This is the woman. The woman says, you get the use of my private parts, and in exchange, you have to provide me with food and a place to live.
Sounds like the red pill.
Yeah.
It sounds like the red pill.
You have things like women are considered less moral by nature than men. They're considered intellectually inferior. Muhammad said that the testimony of a woman is half as reliable as a man's testimony because of the deficiency of her mind. And that's part of the reason. You just have to beat them instead of like reasoning with them and stuff. You can warn them and so on, but at the end of the day, you just have to beat them because they're intellectually inferior. It's like, a dog. You might just have to beat your dog and so on. Well, same thing with your wife and so on. And then in the afterlife, while men get to spend eternity deflowering virgins, their earthly wives get to stand in corners, observing them and trying to compete with the attention that the men are giving.
And that's even if they make it, right? Because didn't Muhammad say most women are in hell? Something like that. Our hell is filled with mostly women.
No, he said
like
most of the inhabitants of hell are women. Most of the inhabitants of hell are women. And he said it's because you guys are you're immoral.
Yeah.
Howdy, gentlemen. Happy to catch a live stream. It's my birthday today. Well, happy birthday, that witchling.
Birthday.
And this is the perfect way to end my day. Have a blessed day. Thank you. Can you make a video defending the book of Daniel? Yeah, I'm researching for that a little bit here and there. I will get to that. I want to do a whole commentary on Daniel. It's another topic on the long list of topics I got to get to. I reject the claimed distinction between non-belief and disbelief as incoherent. Developed 100 syllogisms, and I'm uploading videos on this topic. I'd love to discuss this in detail with any of you. Yeah, I'll try to take a look if I get the time, Kevin. I appreciate that. Cameron Bertuzzi is in the chat. Welcome, Cameron. Hey, can y'all get back on topic? This is an extremely important subject, he said earlier. Yeah, exactly.
I don't get it. Was that a joke?
I think he's being sarcastic. Him and I might...
That's a joke. Are important.
No, obviously. Yeah. Christians know jokes. We get jokes.
You know, Cameron and I might be in Britain together soon, so you know.
Here's Cameron calling them out, causing more division. Look at how enraged they're all getting right now that he's trying to correct them. If it weren't for Islam, they'd all be killing each other.
Islam keeps the world so peaceful. So peaceful.
Let's take a look. All right, guys, I should probably get out of here. It's family time here in a minute.
Yeah, no problem, man.
So good to see you guys, my guys. It's been too long, both of you. You know, let's all get together soon, of course. And yeah.
ETS in November. We'll do it. Yeah.
We'll see, man. I might be somewhere else then, but we'll see. Yeah.
I'm here we go. I'm so angry now. How dare you? How dare you? Look how divisive we are now.
Oh, get out of here before we kill you. He will kill you.
All right. Love you guys. See you guys later.
See you later. All right. So do you think the Saudis
finally, I was just about to declare war on that dude.
Me too. We were so ridiculous. Do you think the Saudis are paying influencers to promote Islam? I personally believe Sneeko is getting paid to promote Islam.
It would make sense, but you don't know. And I have to say, I've met two Christian pastors, Arab Christian pastors, who told me completely independently that they were offered piles of money to convert to Islam. And then I think both of them, one was offered a pile of money to just convert to Islam. The other was told, you have to convert to Islam and then write a book saying that it's because you examined the Quran and the Bible and you determined that the Bible is true. And if so, name your price. So we know that this happens. Even Andrew Tate's brother, Tristan, announced that it was some sort of offer was made to him to convert to Islam. And it was told that it would be very financially advantageous, something like that. I forget what he said, but it was something along those lines. So we know that the offers happen. And so when you have some guy just out of nowhere, hey, I'm a Muslim now, you have to wonder. But I mean, apart from actually having details, you don't know.
I would love to interview one of those pastors
because
at the
conversation
they had.
Yeah. But so the other issue is, because converting to Islam is a quick way to generate a lot of attention and to instantly get a crowd of people who will defend you no matter what you're doing. It's becoming that's the point. You can be paid in attention at this point, right? You can do it just for attention. And so when you see someone, hey, I'm a Muslim now, you don't know, did this person get a nice fat check? Or did this person do it for attention? And you sit there and you think about someone like Sneeko and you look at the reasons he gave, and he's like, the book of the Council of Nicaea was taken out of the Bible. And it's like, this guy has no clue what he's talking about. He's clearly not thought through any of this. So the fact that he's like, and I'm a Muslim now because of all this evidence, which he clearly hasn't looked into, it's obvious that there's something else involved. You just don't know what.
Yeah. Semen rags be upon them? Yes. Can Christians listen to rap, vulgar music, or content, even if we admire the artistry and disagree with some of the inappropriate content? Similar to how Christians consume pagan literature and art. I'd say treat it like a 1 Corinthians 8 thing. If it's not going to be a problem for you, sure, but like, don't do it if it's going to cause other people to stumble, because that's something that definitely could. So keep that in mind. If it is causing you to stumble, then no, don't listen to it. Thank you, K-Dog. Also, any of you heard of the Penguin, Zero, and Sneeko debate on child marriage? Be great if you guys reviewed it. Yeah, we could look at some of that. He did something like that. We should do like a kind of a review of some of that debate in the future.
Wait, they had a debate? Is it written or
Yeah.
like in audio? Because that sounds like exactly something like we might have to set that up, like you, me, and AP or something like that, and actually go through some of it. And we would be there to make fun of Muhammad and to show what's in the Muslim sources, and you would be there to show all your nerdy studies that refute their lies.
Yeah, I have to find it. I don't know where it is. So if someone can email it to me through my website, inspiringphilosophy.org, that'd be great, because I don't have the link. So if anyone can find me the link and send it to me, that'd be great. Because I don't know if it's on Rumble or YouTube. Maybe it was a Twitter live. I don't know. Just a Twitter space. I don't know. So just someone find me the link and email it to me through my website, inspiringphilosophy.org.
Yeah, and someone send that to me on like Twitter or something as well.
Yeah. So often the Muslim apologists, when they try to give problematic verses, context, they try to fit it into a context that would fit Christian morals. Yeah, that's a common theme I've dealt with when it comes to them, for sure. Only thing that unites all Muslims are goats. What do you mean? Do you mean like actual goats, or greatest of all time?
Look at the channel name. Look at the channel name, Goat Hub.
Gross. Do you think AP struggled with Islam and left Islam because he had the capacity to understand jokes? Yes, probably.
Yeah, AP understood jokes, and he's like, this religion does not allow me to understand jokes, but my eyes have been open, and now I understand jokes and sarcasm, so I have to leave.
Respectable stance towards differing approaches. Absolutely. I mean, like, yeah, John and I disagree on plenty of things. We're both still Christians. Like, no one's going to tear each other apart like we're at the Battle of Yamama. Maybe the part of the brain that understands jokes is the same part of the brain that is able to spot logical inconsistencies. Yeah, probably.
That would explain everything I know about Islam.
Yeah. Is IP a social Trinitarianism? I'm a monarchical Trinitarian, so I think that would fall under there. I don't know if that would qualify as heresy. Not even Brian Lefto, who's a Latin Trinitarian, says it's heresy. So, hello, Brother Michael. Do you believe the Roman Catholic deuterocanonical books are true scripture? Why or why not? I mean, I think in the Catholic and Orthodox Church, they have a little bit of a looser understanding of scripture than Protestants do, which is much more rigid. Deuterocanonical means other book, so like the other books. And I don't really have a stance on that right now. I don't really. I sort of just stick with like the typical Protestant Bible because that's how I was raised. I'm not saying if I'm still there or not, but it's just easier to go with in the online world because that's what most people are using. So it's just easier for me to do that.
Oh, someone in the chat said, quoting me, is it written? Lol, David is so old. I guess because I said, is the debate written? What I meant was, is it like them arguing on Twitter? Not because obviously Sneeko's not going to be doing a written formal debate. I don't know how great his spelling and so on are, but so I was just wondering if they were arguing on like Twitter or some like Discord or something like that, or are they actually like arguing in a video?
See, when David started doing
but
debates,
I am old,
so,
to be fair.
Yes,
that's true.
When David started doing debates, you get out your quill and you'd write a letter, and then the Pony Express would pick it up and deliver it, and then 3 weeks later, his opponent will get a copy and then do the same thing, and that's how they did it back in his day.
And then we got technology to use Morse code, and so you tap out your argument, tap 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 tap. That's how we do.
Let's see here. Oh, I think I skipped one. Yeah. David Wood points his finger at Dawa Clown and say it is in his Darth Vader voice, Mike Winger is not as forgiving as I am.
Mike Winger. Hang on. Mike Winger is not as forgiving as I am. Something like that.
Perfect. There goes the race card. When did that happen?
There goes the race card.
Does IP think the UK is doomed to Sharia? No, I don't think it's doomed to Sharia. I think we're starting to see some pushback. And again, a lot of the Muslims that actually moved to the UK, they're not becoming hardcore like Sharia advocates. A lot of them actually deconvert. I think I saw some statistics on that a while ago. They sort of integrate better. And then what gets a lot of the attention is the extremists that end up showing up. What are your thoughts on that, David?
I've had the exact same position for years. It's basically the longer you wait to deal with the problem, the messier the solution is going to be. Like there was a time when you could deal with the problem of a bunch of guys wanting to come and impose Sharia on you. You could have dealt with that entirely peacefully. The longer you wait to deal with it, the bigger the group is going to be, the more aggressive they're going to be, and the messier it's going to be, and the more difficult it's going to be to deal with the problem. So I don't think Europe is going to be subjugated to Islam. I think people at the end of the day, once they realize we cannot put up with this any longer, they're going to rise up against it. It's the longer you wait, the more you pass it off, the more you try and pass it off to the next generation, the worse it's going to be.
Yeah, and I think that's a good way to look at it. I know IP has said that Mormons aren't Christians due to their disbelief in the Trinity. Maybe my sole disagreement with Mike. Do you think Mormons can go to heaven? Yeah, I think it's possible, but I can't say whether or not, because they reject the sacraments, they reject core beliefs. I mean, like they've not been baptized in the proper Trinitarian formula, which is very important, like Matthew 28. So I would say that yes, it's possible, but I don't. For example, the Catholic Church has not like said like anyone is in hell, like not even Judas, as far as I'm aware, because we don't know. God can do miracles and do things, and we don't have the. No Christian has the authority to make those kind of assessments. So it's just sort of like we hope God works through something in the afterlife and brings them to true belief in Him. So. What do you think of Michael Heiser's view that demons are the disembodied spirits of Nephilim, or do you think they are fallen angels? Yeah, I think they're fallen angels. I don't think they're Nephilim. I disagree with him on that. I was not convinced of it when I read that. WWA wing with attitude. I don't want to even say it because I don't want people to like
wingers with attitude.
My wingaling said beardless AP, which is almost as terrifying as beardless. Or this next, wow. What in God's green earth is that? Cat boy. What is going on?
Cat boy IP. That's a new one.
It's a horrible one. What is wrong with you, sir? Who made this? I have a lot of
catastrophe.
We're gonna have a chat, Mr. Making these accounts. That you've gone too far. You've gone too far now. That is terrifying to look at. I was fine with beardless IP, but now you've gone too far. Cross-dress Muhammad is the best feminist.
And the best representative for the LGBTQ community, apart from him.
Alhamdulillah.
And his relationship with Diha Al-Kalbi.
IP, will you ever cover the tag? No, I'm not a defender of that. I'm not convinced that's a good argument. I have some issues with it. So
hey, you didn't say you had to defend it. Will you cover it?
Maybe. I could say the pros and cons of it, because I think there are some pros of it, and I think there's some cons. It's not my thing, but maybe I'll do something like that. Off topic. Sorry. Do you think that Keir Starmer could be compromised by Islamic money? Qatar on top. On topic, is Islam itself a joke? If only. I don't know who Keir Starmer is. Do you?
British politician who is that the prime minister.
Oh, the new
so
prime
that's
minister.
who became a prime minister, but Yeah, he's the guy. Don't worry, we're gonna crack down on all these people who don't want jihadis conquering them in the name of Allah and so on. But here's the thing. So it's the same situation with it's a similar situation with the social media influencers like Sneeko and so on. Are you getting paid, or is it just for attention? That's the situation with the social media influencers and so on. If you're a politician, me and AP were just talking about this. Like, is this person being bribed? Is he trying to help jihadis conquer the land? And so you don't actually need a conspiracy. You just need people who are raised their entire lives to think that the worst problem in the world is Islamophobia. And if you convince a generation that the worst thing in the world is Islamophobia, you kind of get this. So you don't need payoffs, or it could be, I don't know, but you don't actually need conspiracies or payoffs or anything like that. You convince people that if they're opposed to Islam in any way, then it must be racism. If you program people to go that, they'll be against the criticism of Islam, and they'll want to shut it down because that's the good thing to do. So you have people who think they're good and right. They're on the correct side of history by silencing and shutting down critics of jihad and child marriage and all this stuff. And so you have people who are doing awful, disgusting things and think that they're on the right side.
Thanks for all your work. I hope to see you all at ETS this year. David, are you still willing to eat a Carolina Reaper with me? It'll be YouTube Gold. I'm also a wing-a-ling apostate.
Yeah, but however many Carolina Reapers you bring, there needs to be that number of people all involved in this challenge, so that when I complete it and everyone else is screaming and crying like little girls and so on, then, in other words, people need to understand, because some people may not understand what it is, and they'll think, oh, David just handled that Carolina Reaper like a boss, but who knows? Maybe that's just like eating a bell pepper. So you need all the other guys rolling around on the floor, throwing up and stuff like that, while I'm just standing there like a total Chad. So in other words, you got to contact a few other people who are going to be at ETS. So there's like, I don't know what kind of, do they come in jars or packs or what, or something like that? If it's like, let's say 4 in a pack, then let's have 4 of us doing it.
Yeah, good luck with that. I'll be sitting that one out. What is reality under the concept of digital physics theory, IP? How does our conscious come into play alongside God's great conscious? So it's the idea that God has created like little consciouses that can experience like a much larger like simulation type reality. So our conscious is fundamentally real, and we experience information in this. It's not that we are God's consciousness. That would be like pantheism or like strong panentheism. And I am more of a weak panentheist. We are like creations of God's mind to like basically mirror images of it in like a smaller, limited sense, if that makes any sense. So yeah, that's kind of how I look at it as an idealist. Odds of one of the dawa guys becoming a Christian. What do you think, David?
Oh, I mean, it's happened before, but yeah, you're going to see that. Watch. I've predicted it here, folks. But a lot of the dawa guys that we have exposed for spouting complete nonsense wasn't because, I mean, keep in mind, in general, it's just part of dawa culture that it's perfectly acceptable to lie, to defend Islam, to attack Christianity. It's just acceptable. But a lot of the arguments that they used that have since been exposed wasn't because they were lying. It's because they were lied to. So in other words, earlier generations of dawa guys like Zakir Naik lied to them, made things up. These guys believed the lies and then used the arguments and then were exposed. And so, yeah, dawa's, it's getting to the point where it's just lies now. Like you can listen to a dawa guy. We've shown it, like Speaker's Corner, they will not engage. They will not engage anyone who knows the dawa script. They're only willing to talk to people who are ignorant on the topic. And that kind of shows they don't have confidence that their arguments actually are good. So I think it's eating them up inside. And yeah, you're gonna see some of these guys leaving Islam pretty soon.
David Wood, is the debate on a tablet or is it on a video? David Wood, is the debate in smoke signals?
Smoke signals.
Oh wait, no, WWA of all you fighting, then Muhammad shows up and then you all go after him. Then Mike Winger shows up and all 4 of you go after him. Love
That'd
it.
be funny. Yeah, Muhammad too. That'd be funny. Classic.
Amazing. Very interested in C.S. Lewis's view on hell. From what I know, you have a similar perspective. Can you recommend any resources for learning more? Yeah, his book, The Great Divorce, would be the best place to go. That's where he talks about it the most. So, and apparently this guy met you. I can see you in his little picture there.
Yeah.
Do you like the name Rob Banks?
Like you're gonna rob banks? That'd be funny.
I love you guys. You are cool. Thank you, Just a Dude. Odds on AP becoming a Christian? I do not know. I pray it happens, though.
I'd say better than average.
That's good. Yeah, you know him better than I do. So I mean, I pray it happens. I know his wife to be
Yeah, and it's
which is great.
I mean, if you talk to the guy, he's not nearly as hostile as lots of other non-Christians are. His wife became a Christian. He doesn't have a problem with Christians. He doesn't believe that it's true, and he has objections to whether it's true. But if you're looking at it from the perspective of, divine providence, and I mean, the guy's surrounded by Christians right now. So if you believe God's in control, you'd have to think, maybe this guy looks like he's in a pretty good place right now.
Yeah, maybe we pray it happens. I hope it does. We will see in the long run, though. So just keep praying for him. Keep praying.
Otherwise, because if not, we will humiliate him.
Destroy him. Yes, absolutely. It's the Islamic way. So
it's what we do.
All right. That is the last super chat. What do you have coming up on your channel, David?
Tonight I'm recording a video. Not sure about the exact title, but something like Cultural Christians and God's Promise to Abraham. Just these clips, because Elon Musk recently called him a cultural Christian. Dawkins calls himself a cultural Christian. And they're saying things like, hey, we really like living in countries, massively influenced by the teachings of Jesus, even though, Dawkins is really opposed to Christianity and Elon Musk isn't, and so on. But it's the same thing. They're acknowledging, saying, hey, we actually like societies influenced by the teachings of Christ. Anyway, I'm pointing out that, you had God's promise to Abraham, that's through his offspring, all nations of the world are going to be blessed. And then you have New Testament writers saying that Jesus is the primary fulfillment of this. And you look around at the world, here you are, thousands of years later, and you've got, atheists, agnostics, and everyone saying, yeah, wow, we certainly have been blessed. All nations have been blessed by the teachings of Christ. Like, wait a minute, what are the odds, man? Like some random guy, Abraham, and then, his offspring are somehow going to bless all nations of the world. And then you got Jesus, this carpenter, and it's going to be him. It's going to be him that influences. But then you've got all these guys going, yeah, it happened. Anyway, I just want to tie that together so help make it glaringly obvious. And then tomorrow night I'm going live with wait, who am I doing? What's tomorrow night?
Tuesday.
Oh yeah, tomorrow night. Oh no, tomorrow night's interesting. Tomorrow, I don't think I've done a live stream with Raymond Ibrahim, but that's tomorrow. Raymond Ibrahim. He's one of the OGs. He's one of the guys who was exposing Islam before I was. There aren't a lot of those.
I'm not sure the thoughts on former. I think this wasn't this guy recently excommunicated. Nuncio Vagano, I forget. This sounds so familiar. I'm trying to remember who this is. Wasn't this the guy that was excommunicated? I don't know. I can't remember. I don't know. Sorry. That's going to be hard for me to just remember. I ran an algorithm to find Islamic jokes and got a null pointer error. Yeah. Get you what you mean. Yeah. Do you know who this person is here?
No.
Yeah. Sorry. It's really escaping me. I think he was recently excommunicated, and he was bound. He was like charged with schism, and I'm like, okay, like I don't. It's like one of those things I just haven't had time to follow because I'm more focused on unity and not this other stuff. I don't know what his actual beliefs are or why he was excommunicated. I hope it was for good reasons. It'd be bad to excommunicate on for, really just frivolous reasons. But this is just something that doesn't happen often, which I think is good. Like this isn't happening every day. That's why people are talking about it so much. So, going on what you said, David, about the whole like Christianity, like Abraham and Jesus influencing the world. I'm researching for that series you told me to do on how Christianity like changes the world. So I'm preparing a video on like how Christianity ended slavery, created human rights, protected children from abuse, created science, that kind of stuff. But this Friday, I have a video coming out on why Matthew actually did write the Gospel of Matthew. And if you go to my Patreon, you can watch it now. But it'll be out Friday for anyone who's not a donor. So that's what I got coming up on my channel. Any final thoughts? Anything else before we close this out?
Just to all the followers of Muhammad out there, learn to spot a joke and then
please
recognize Muhammad as the biggest joke of all time. Maybe that's why culturally they can't recognize a joke, because they'd have to recognize Muhammad as a joke if they did. So it's just built into the system. Do not be able to spot jokes.
Yeah, exactly. So final super chat, Paul says that our love is like that of burning coals. If our imperfect love is like coals, then God's perfect love would be like a pizza oven. Is that a good way to explain hell? Yes, that is actually the Orthodox Church's view, that what happened is that the love of God burns people who've rejected him. So
pizza oven?
Yeah, kind of like it's the love of God that those
Like
who turn to God, it's like a great consuming beautiful fire. But for those who reject God, it's absolutely horrible. So, all right, everyone, I'm going to close this out. I appreciate all the
chance
super
of me
chats.
going. I just wanted to point out, chance of me now going and eating some pizza, 100%.
Well said. All right, thanks for coming. I'm going to do a stream next week on my channel. I just don't have it planned yet, but yeah, I'll announce that later. So see you guys next time.